you so much, Simon. It's an honor to be here with you today. I think it's a travesty that we have to continue to come here together and protest the fact that Guantanamo Bay detention facility is still open. Those closest to Guantanamo Bay detention facility and working closest towards getting it closed will often say they should never have opened in the first place. And after 22 years, those that are still imprisoned there should not be there and should be released. And we know that successive US presidents and successive US governments, have pledged to close down the facility. But it's shocking that at least 30 people still remain there without charge. And like what we're bearing witness to today in the ongoing bombardment in Gaza, the escalation of the situation in the Red Sea with the US and UK bombing of Yemen, where people have already endured severe hardship, where people are enduring starvation, with the almost decade-long civil war inside Yemen itself, where a UN report in September 2019 talked about the fact that there was evidence that the UK was aiding and abetting potential war crimes in Yemen because of its sale of arms to Saudi Arabia. We know the fact that the Guantanamo Bay detention facility remains open is not just a reflection of the ongoing severe and extreme injustice that people remain detained without charge, without legal representation, stripped of their dignity, stripped of their human rights, but a reminder that it was always an exercise of US and UK imperial power. And I want to thank campaigners, journalists, legal experts, and former detainees as well, who have done work over the years to ensure that British detainees, were released, along with parliamentarians past and present as well, who have been vocal and remained vocal on this issue across both parties in both houses as well. And on the 22nd anniversary, I reiterate and affirm those calls again to close down Guantanamo Bay detention facility and to release all those that remain imprisoned there without charge. It's only really served as a symbol of inhumanity and degradation as well. And UN rapporteurs, as we all know, have outlined in their reports and their warnings of the torture and the treatment that people have endured there. Let's also not forget how the work of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, brought us the truth and evidence of American war crimes in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and of course in Guantanamo Bay itself. We must all make sure we oppose that final opportunity to oppose his extradition to the US next month. And I also want to say this, I think it's not always easy to keep going when the political establishment and the mainstream media, has its attention elsewhere. But that's why it's really important to keep all of this alive, all of these campaigns alive on our streets and in Parliament as well. Because as uncomfortable as it is, it's important to keep confronting the threads of imperialism that Britain continues to pursue around the world. And I know that thread runs through the legacy of successive UK governments, unfortunately, both Labour and Conservative, that allowed and emboldened policies and legislation from extraditions to renditions, that have had long-lasting, devastating impacts on human beings. And I know this from the case of Ravel Mingazov, who was released from Guantanamo, but then detained in the UAE and continues to be in prison there, whose son is still campaigning for his release from within the UK. And let's be honest, I think we've got to be honest about the fact that a lot of these policies and a lot of these pieces of legislation, counter-terror legislation in particular, has been disproportionately been applied and, had an impact on Muslim communities as well. And the vast majority of people that remain in Guantanamo are Muslim as well. So our work, I believe, is everywhere. It's everywhere to build an outward-facing, progressive, foreign policy, one that centres human rights and justice at its core, one that opposes military interventions where it wreaks havoc across our world. And I'll keep doing that in Parliament and with you on the streets, campaigning across the UK, in America and beyond, because we cannot stop our work until every detainee that has been held without charge and being treated unjustly is released, and we cannot stop until every single person who is being oppressed in the world is freed. Thank you so much for everything that you do in solidarity.
Hey.
Thank you very much, Sana. I know that Sana's busy with other commitments as well, but we really appreciate you coming and all of the work that your work you're doing for Guantanamo with the Parliament at the moment. So thank you very, very much.